There comes a point in your career when growth stops being about getting better and starts being about getting truer. You've built mastery, earned respect, and proven competence, but something quieter has arrived. A pull toward meaning, elegance, and precision. Evolution isn't a disruption, it's refinement, the art of aligning your next chapter with the woman you have become. And tonight is about authorship, designing the next expression of your leadership with intention, curiosity, and creative courage. Welcome to Dialogues Live. My name is Helena Demuynck. I am your host. And before we get started, I would like to extend an invitation to join me. I can sit here and talk about career for an hour, for 2 hours. I won't do that, don't worry. But the thing is that if we can do this together, if you can just contribute either via the comments, sharing your views, your experiences, asking your questions, that's amazing. We are going to talk today about career in a completely different way or angle. We are going to see career and career evolution as a creative act, as really designing your next chapter with intention, which is something that we very often don't do. We don't really think about our career in terms of what is it that we really want to do? What is it that we really are here to do? What is the purpose? How can we align our own purpose with what we do in our job, in our role? And that could be as an executive, it could be as an entrepreneur, whatever professional activity you have developed. So we are going to take this from a more identity point of view, if that is okay for you. And we have been trained to see careers as linear. But as I already mentioned in the Dialogues Live 2 weeks ago, leadership and careers, it is not linear. It is not a ladder. Basically, it's a language. You could compare it with a language. And over time, that language matures. And just think of where you are right now in your career. Let's see how we can basically define an identity curve. Like when we are early in our careers, we are proving and striving and collecting credentials. I remember I was like that. I just finished university. I started my first job. I wanted to prove myself. I was ambitious. I wanted to do everything. I was competing basically and proving my worth because that was like the only framework that I had. What I see is that a lot of us keep some of that during their complete career track, this proving, this collecting credentials, external accolades. A lot of us in the mid-career are focused on performing, optimizing, and mastering. Just check for yourself if you recognize that. If you are in that phase, or if you already have left that phase, or if you are still in that, what we would label as an early career, where you're proving yourself. Mid-career is more about optimizing and mastering the experiences that we have, the networks that we have built, although there's still a lot of proving, especially for women. Let me know in the chat if you want to share something about that from your own experience, from things that you see around you in your organization, with your stakeholders, things like that. And I want to add here that even if you watch this episode in the replay, please feel free to share your experiences in the comments. I am monitoring everything, so I will get back to you and support you with anything that you might need or want or wish. And sharing experiences is also a very important learning opportunity for other people in the audience. So feel free to share whatever you want to share. So we were talking about early career, we were talking about mid-career, and then there is what we love to see, the evolutionary phase, which is designing, expressing, and synthesizing. And this is basically a phase where we are a lot more at ease, comfortable, where we, I would say, shifted from being known for what we did to being recognized for what we embody, for how we show up, where evolution is not necessarily like a pivot, it's more like an integration of wisdom, of maturity, of basically all the experiences that we have built on, but integrated, embodied into authentic leadership. And that's basically what we want to do. The core idea is that maturity and leadership isn't about doing more, it is about distilling your essence, about knowing what only you can bring to a job or to a position. Before we go to a coaching moment, I see that we have a guest here, Stephanie Michel. I have interviewed Stephanie last week. She's calling in from Haiti. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome to Dialogues Live. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you? Thank you. Hi, everyone.
We're talking today about career, about how career can be a creative act rather than a linear thing when we build where we build promotion after promotion. I always considered myself and my career as a kind of creative act. What about you? Because you also have a very interesting career, mixing different roles and responsibilities, the academic, the entrepreneurial. So, how do you look at career and what can you share for our audience in terms of how they can look at their career in a completely different way than what we traditionally do? What can you bring here?
So thank you for the question. First thing that I would like to say about that, about my career, is that sometimes it's a bit difficult to do like multiple things because in my case, I'm doing a PhD in sociology. I'm the president of Asian Women for Liberty, and then I'm trying to produce some academic papers. You have your family too, so sometimes you have a lot of things to do. It's a bit difficult, but have to find a way to deal with all of them because you have to do all of them. If I have a lesson for the public, for the audience, I think it's what I'm trying to do is try to find a way to make all of them, trying to find a way to make all of them, to find a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for everybody listening in here or watching this episode, I have interviewed Stephanie last week. So she is teaching at university. She is doing a PhD in Canada, and she's also the founder of Asian Women for Liberty. So there's also an activist role in there. So you, as you can see, Stephanie is not your normal linear career girl, but she has a very interesting track record that might be inspirational for you. And she has a very clear message also. We won't bring that here. That would be outside the scope of our session. But if you are interested, I will put a link of the Boundary Breakers Collective talk show in the comments here and in the chat. And so if you want to find out more about Stephanie's amazing career, then you can just check that. And all the information to connect with Stephanie is in the show notes. So you can connect with Stephanie if you want to find out more. Stephanie, thank you so much for contributing here. I hope you stay with us. We are just going to start a little coaching moment and might be interesting for you as well to dig a little bit deeper into some reflection questions. So thank you so much for being here. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So I'm so happy Stephanie showed up here live because she's really a living example of how she really crafted her career and aligned it with a mission and with a passion that was so important for her. And when I refer to my own career, actually, I would say I did a similar thing. I started my own business I did not prepare for this, but anyway, I'm going to tell you, I started my own business when I was 25 because very early on, I understood that corporate life was not really for me in terms of I felt very limited in my creativity. And I had some standards and I was very ambitious, but also I wanted to be able to put my passion and my soul in what I was doing. And so I started my own business when I was 25, and I started in recruitment and search, finance and legal profiles. And immediately I developed a completely different way of recruiting than what was standard in the market. Basically, we already started career coaching long before that term started to be a thing. We were focused on potential, we were focused on attitudes, we were focused on adding value, and we were focused on a relationship between employee and employer, or candidate and employer, that was more balanced, that was more equilibrated, because basically both parties had to offer something to each other. And it was about understanding that value. And then later on, when I started in coaching, again, I wanted to bring my own creativity in coaching, which sometimes is a challenge because, so I want to normalize here the feelings that you can have when you ask yourself, yeah, being creative in your career and bringing yourself into your career, how can you do that when I am working in legal or when I am working in engineering? I think there's always possibilities to think of how you want to show up and what you want to bring to a role. And that can be a role as a leader where you have a team. It can be a role as an expert, as a consultant. It doesn't really matter. It is about how you look at life, how you look at what you can contribute in a professional setting. And it is also about how you look at the quality of the relationships that you want to build with your stakeholders. Could be your team, could be your boss, your colleagues, your clients, whoever it is, depending on where you are. And I think it is so important to understand that even if it is not always easy, and even if sometimes we don't even have a narrative about it, like why we do things differently, or why we approach things from a different angle, or why we just want to inject our values into our processes or our policies. It is about having that why, having that intention, and finding a way to articulate that in a very authentic way. And so I invite you to join me in some reflective questions. If you've been here before on Dialogues Live, that is what I'm doing here. This is not like a standard podcast where I'm building activity and whatever it is that you are supposed to do in podcasts. There again, I try to go my own way. I try to see these sessions as an opportunity to have an intimate moment of reflection together based on some examples, based on people that just show up here to spend a little time with us, but also to get used and feel comfortable with reflection questions and reflection prompts. I'm going to explain right away why I'm also doing that, but I would just like you to stay with me for a while. And if you want to take something to write, feel free. Just think about some aspects of your work. And the first question I have for you is, what is your work asking from you right now in this era, in this time that we are living in, that it never has been asking before? What is different this year? What has been different for you in 2025? I'll give you some time to think about that and maybe take some notes, write it down. And the second question I have for you is, where have you outgrown efficiency and started craving expression? In what responsibilities do you feel that you could do your job with your eyes closed and your hands behind your back, and you are really looking for more expression? Can be in admin, can be in policy, can be in finance, can be in so many things. Another question I want to present to you is, what feels too small for who you are becoming? What feels too small for who you are becoming? Or what feels not enough? Not deep enough, not big enough, not beautiful enough? Maybe to continue my story, I started coaching, that was 2007. And so I had a traditional coaching formation, and I started in the traditional coaching setting, which was executive coaching, leadership coaching. That was very much focused on skills and strategies. So the what and the how was like, I worked with clients on how to develop better communication skills, how to delegate better, how to build more executive presence, things like that. If you are familiar with coaching, you will most certainly know these topics. And for me, that felt not enough. That felt too small because it was so much on skills. It was so much focused on the what and the how. And I always felt there should be more. And so basically, I've stepped into my own journey. What kind of coach do I want to become? I have rows of books here about growth coaching, about coactive coaching, about a lot of different traditional coaching methodologies. And I really didn't find what I really wanted. And then I started to take more courses and more certificates because I was really looking for more and for deeper. And so I took Marshall Goldsmith's stakeholder-centered coaching because I wanted to work more systemically, also because I'm a systemic NLP master practitioner. And that was already something because you did not isolate your coaching client from everything else. You really worked with him or her in the system of the organization with boss and things like that. But even then, I felt short. I wanted something more. And it took me quite some years in order to understand what it was that I was missing in order to bring myself into my work, really myself. But I have found it. I might tell you a little bit more about that later today or in another setting. But this is about what feels too small for who you are becoming as a person, as a leader. Hope this helps a little bit. Another question: if your career spoke in your true voice, so not your trained one, what would it say? How would it manifest if you were not limited by anything that expectations or the system or what it is supposed to be would mold it? Think about that. And I have seen that a lot of us have are uncomfortable with going deeper into their careers. Very often, when you talk with people about their career, they talk about their role, their title, and then what they're doing. And it's reading the resume. By the way, about resumes, maybe I should do another session about that because it's not about what you're doing, it is about how you give value. It is about understanding your strengths, understanding your contributions, and connecting dots. And I see that a lot of us are not really used or comfortable doing that, or we don't really have the language for that. And so what I did, this is one of the things that is in my expression of my role. When I see a need and I don't find a tool for it, I create the tool. And so last month I have created this tool that is called Strength in Motion. And Strength in Motion is basically a tool that helps you literally to see your professional fingerprints. So, how your natural strengths and your values and your timing intersect. And it helps you make that invisible identity work visible, really turning intuition into intentional design. And Strengths in Motion is an application where you upload your resume and you upload your LinkedIn profile and you upload assessments. You can upload 5 assessments. Like I uploaded my PDA, I uploaded my human design, I uploaded a 360 I had. So you can upload 5 different assessments. And then you also answer some qualitative questions. And the tool creates basically something for you. It's amazing. When I looked at my own results, I was like, wow, I did not connect those dots. I did not see that. So the tool is actually giving you a snapshot of your strengths and how you have deployed them and where you can also deploy them in the future. And then it also gives you a playbook, which is a complete overview of your strengths, but put in the light and connected with what you have been putting in there in terms of your values and your aspirations and your intentions, combined with your LinkedIn profile and your resume. And it also builds on what kind of positions you could look for, what kind of strengths you could develop. And it also, this is very new, it also gives you the possibility to build the language to upgrade your resume or your LinkedIn profile, at least the about section, and gives you ideas about how to profile yourself in a different way from the typical linear things. If you're a recruiter, or just imagine you're a recruiter and you have to read all these CVs, all these resumes, or all these LinkedIn profiles, they're all like the same. Just imagine what it is to be jumping out of that because you have the language to present yourself in a creative way, in a way that is really refining and designing who you really are and what you really have been achieving until now. And you will be surprised about how the tool combining all this information will bring you things where you say, yeah, that's true. I never thought of it like that. I can use that. I can do something with that. It inspires me or it encourages me to look at my role in a different way, or even maybe to find something different. So I would like to invite you to check it out. Let me see what I can do here. I will put here we go. I will put you the QR code. It's in the top left of your screen. If you use this QR code, you enter the Strengths in Motion app. And I will also put the link of Strengths in Motion. It's very simple, strengthsinmotion.app. So check it out. The snapshot is free. There's nothing you can lose. You might have to spend some time digging up all these assessments that you had before. And while you do that, just have a look at it and learn how brilliant you are, learn your strengths, refresh them, make sure that you have a clear view on who you are and how you can use that in your career planning in a creative way. So think about that for a while. And if you have anything to add or if you have any questions, then just let me know. So basically, what we want to do is with this Dialogues Live and with Strengths in Motion as an application, I want to help you to locate yourself in this evolution. So I want to help you to understand where you are. I want to bring awareness about what you can, what is your potential. And I also want to bring awareness about how you can, by reflection, how you can dig a lot deeper and explore opportunities and possibilities. When you talk with a colleague, when you talk with a friend, when you talk with HR, with a recruiter, you will have very similar quality of conversations. When you talk with yourself, when you go deep in yourself, that's a different story. You have different answers. And I'm not saying that it's not important to get them validated by other people. The thing is that sometimes we don't have anything to get validated. We just go into the conversations and the normal scratching the surface, if I may express it that bluntly. And we really don't dig deeper in how our job and how our role or how what we do as an entrepreneur is aligned with who we really are, is aligned with our values. And so I'm going to add some more journaling prompts for you, just for the fun of it. You can write them down or you can just think of them loudly. What part of your leadership feels fully formed? And what part of that leadership is quietly evolving? That's an interesting one, isn't it? What part is ready? And what part is information, is evolving? And think of your leadership not necessarily as leading a big team or leading a strategic department. Think of your leadership also as self-leadership. And self-leadership is something that we have both in our personal and our professional lives. And in our professional lives, we have it at every level, early career, mid-career. Self-leadership is important. So check what is already fully formed there and what is evolving. Another question, and you can approach this even in a more fun or metaphoric or whatever you want way. If you were to name the theme of your next chapter, what would it be? What would be the theme of your next chapter in your professional setting? For me, it's relevance. I want to be relevant. I want to bring programs and topics and sponsor and support and validate women leaders in a way that really makes a difference, that really makes an impact. That's for me. For you, it could be a roller coaster in terms of, I want to have fun the next couple of years, or it could be whatever. Try to name the theme of your next chapter. And I would invite you to write that one down. Yeah. So just be curious, right? You don't have to have all the answers, or you don't have to have everything already set up, but be curious. Even if you don't know the details yet, you can already think of the direction that you want to go, right? So what can you do with this? And why am I asking these questions for you? The idea is to connect awareness to actionable reflection and design, and give you the possibility to create your path forwards. And I already mentioned Strengths in Motion, which is the application that is helping you strategically with your career to connect the dots and really build that language and narrative. There's another application that I have, and let me put the QR code for that one also. It's a different one on the screen. The other application they have built is Dialogues with Helena. And Dialogues with Helena is your reflective mirror. It's a space to explore questions and patterns and build this self-awareness. And Dialogues Live for me is a support of Dialogues with Helena, because I know that we don't take time to ask questions. We even feel uncomfortable when there's too many questions. When we struggle with something, or when we want to explore something, or when we want to understand something, what we often do, and that's because there has been the Google generation, there has been the YouTube generation, there is now the AI generation, right? So if we want to know something, we open our computer or we take our mobile and we just ask the question to ChatGPT, and you get everything. But the thing is that these are quick fixes that are very standardized and generalized, and they don't really go deeper into who you really are and why you want something, or why you don't want something, or why you think you want something. And they also don't go there in terms of, when you think you have the answer, how are you going to implement that? Because there's so many limiting beliefs in our lives. And by the way, Strengths in Motion is also dealing with your limiting beliefs in terms of career strategy. That's really a very strong element there. But there's so many limiting beliefs that we have, and there's so many life happens in our environment, that even if we think we know something, it doesn't mean that we do something with that, or that we can integrate it, or that we can embody it. And so Dialogues with Helena allows you to receive coaching in terms of reflection questions, in terms of growth paths, in terms of resources to embody, that are really specifically based on your profile and on what you need. Dialogues with Helena is an online coaching application that I have developed, and basically you will be interacting with my avatar. It is all my knowledge and expertise and my coaching programs consolidated in a secure environment, where you have the space and the safety to reflect and to explore and to ask questions and to journal. And that's why I want to bring these kind of reflection questions to you, in order to normalize that as a coaching approach, in order to invite you and encourage you to go deeper than what is at the surface, to go deeper into who you really are, to connect and reconnect with your wisdom, with your intuition, with your creativity, and with your deepest wishes to manifest. And that's why I have created Strengths in Motion and Dialogues with Helena. So Dialogues with Helena is absolutely your safe space to explore questions and patterns, while Strengths in Motion is more like the design table, the place where reflections can become structured career-wise. So Dialogues helps you to articulate the whispers, and Strengths in Motion helps you to give them form. So I would like to encourage you to experiment with these two applications. I'm going to put the link for Dialogues with Helena. It's very simple. It's www.dialogueswithhelena.app. Here you go. It's in the chat or in the comments for everybody. Once again, it's free. You get 10 minutes per week free. You can do more if you want to, but already 10 minutes per week can give you insights and awareness that can take you further. That's basically the whole idea, to take you on your way. I love this expression, to take you further, because your evolution and your growth, it doesn't need a plan. It needs a practice, right? So if you have any questions about that, if you have any ideas, just feel free to share them here with us in the chat. Even if you're watching the replay, just share. If you feel it's more personal, private, then just, you know where to find me. I'm on LinkedIn. Direct message me on LinkedIn or on Facebook or wherever you see me on social media. This is just an open invitation to go a little bit deeper and to explore all the potential and the possibilities that you have in life, in this case, in your professional life, in your career, if you are crafting your career from intention and from your insight, rather than what is the linear path. So I would like to close with some wisdom that I want to share with you. And that is that career evolution and growth, it is not about reinvention. It is about precision. It is about knowing what is still true, what is complete, and what wants to emerge. What is still true, what is complete, and what wants to emerge next. So my invitation for you is to look at this way. Your next chapter in your career doesn't need louder ambition. It needs quieter mastery. And next week in Dialogues Live, we are going to explore alignment, how to let ambition and authenticity work together instead of competing. I wish I'd known that when I was starting my career. I would say I wish I've known that the first 15 years of my professional life, because for me, that was always a very interesting paradox that basically costed me a lot of energy, right? And so just remember this, and that is your career, it's not your resume. It's your body of work, and it is still being written, and it will be written until you stop being relevant. And I hope you will be relevant for a very long time, because being relevant is about having impact, is about moving a needle, whatever needle it is, you decide what you want to achieve in your career, how you want to be remembered, how you want to contribute. And that could be in a small organization, it could be larger, it could be something international, supranational, it could change the lives of one person, it could change the lives of 100 or 1,000 or even more people. That's basically up to you, and all is fine as long as you can do it with passion and purpose. Whatever you choose, it's amazing. So I hope to see you next week, where we are going to talk about ambition and purpose. And I invite you to check out the applications. So it's strengthinmotion.app and dialogueswithhelena.app, and see what they bring you. No strings attached, just explore them and learn to work with deeper questions, and let me know what they bring you. Take care. Have a great rest of your week, and hope to see you next week. Bye for now.